Hi, welcome. It's time for another Woman for Women video, and it's a bit late. I know, I'm sorry. But I've been traveling and going through a few things of my own, and finding what I wanted to talk about today was took time. But on the other hand, I rewatched my last video that I did, and it was really good. So I sort of re-released it yesterday. I think it was yesterday, in the hopes that some of you may have missed it, so that you can have a chance at it. And if you saw it once, it's a good one to watch again. So now in this one, it's so for the 8th of October. And on the 8th, I try to focus just on women. So welcome, ladies, to the series today. I hope you enjoy what I'm going to say and maybe learn something. Yeah, it's important. You're important, and you matter. So I think we need to focus on ourselves a bit more. Don't forget to put you as number one priority in your own life. I mean, there are once in a while where you have to put other people, not necessarily other people, but you have to put maybe your children first. But in general, you are number one in your own life. So be sure to take care of yourself. And it starts by being the true you, not the fake you, not the ones your family wants you to be, not the ones the society wants you to be, but be really you, that person you've always wanted to be. Be it. Start taking steps towards it. Some of these things that we want to be, so the envision of ourselves that we see eventually, is something we have to grow into. It might not happen when you're young. You know, for me, when I was growing up, and I was in my 20s and working, I was in New York, and there were famous people there. And, as an older person now looking back, it's the extroverts that get sort of famous early because they're somehow able to get out there and they feel confident, even if they're stupid. And then we all believe them. So, I'm not a big fan of extroverts, actually. But I'm definitely not one of them. And I knew I needed time to grow, to learn, to give a proper message. I didn't want to just give any message. And so this is my way. I waited. I'm going to be 60 soon. And, it took me a while to get to this point. I was 55, I think, when I started running for president. So, that's when my voice really became clear. And each year, each month even this year, I'm getting clearer and clearer and more on point. And it's pretty cool, I have to admit. So aging is not to be anything afraid of. And your wrinkles are signs that you're not a child anymore. So embrace them. It's okay to get older. It's okay to be the crazy old lady. And I highly recommend you see the movie Harold and Maude if you haven't seen it. It's from back in the 60s, I think, maybe early 70s. I can't remember when it was filmed, but it is a great story of a woman who is older, who is living her life to the fullest, right to the end. She's in her 80s and, in full charge of her life. And it's quite good, quite impressive, and was always an inspiration for me. So I highly recommend it for you. Then be a creature like no other. Now, I've heard this in many different books, and it's true. Be truly yourself. Decide, what is it that makes you you, and it's okay to be different. It's okay to be very different. And it's okay to be an extrovert. Just, don't be obnoxious. And don't be wrong. Don't be annoying and sending a bad message. Live with the idea of leaving the world better than when you found it. This is something that I always think about, what are the steps, like every day when I wake up? What are the steps I can take to move closer to my goals, what I want to do? And then later I usually think, am I moving us in the right direction? Are we getting closer to things or further away? And we're getting closer. My problem is I'm one person and I only have so many hours in the day, and then I have issues that come up, sometimes surprisingly, and then I have a big distraction. And then I have a right to time off too, I also don't have to work all the time. And so sometimes I give myself a break. But I'm working on the plan now to how to pay mothers for their important work that they do, that we do. And it's coming along. I'm thinking, how to separate the wife job from the mother job, because they're not the same thing. And they're two separate contracts, actually. So, we need to look at our life a bit in a more contractual concept, because we're dealing with people who are not always committed to what you're committed to. And then we get hurt. And sometimes we get killed. And this is not acceptable either. So we have a right to our own lives, and being attached to a man is not necessarily something we have to do. Especially, it should not be connected to having children. You can have children without a man. The thing is that while we're having children, the men are increasing and getting more, popular in their field. And then by the time we get back to that same field, they're way up here, and we haven't done anything in the field for a long time. We're back at the beginning. So our current system isn't really working for women for the most part, if they want to have a full womanly life, including children. And there are many women who don't want children, and that is fine. Then you move into more the male category, where you don't have any obstacles and you just have to grow. But for women who are like me, who wanted to have children, so then we end up in this sort of weird place where we had skills once that we've now lost. So the current education system doesn't really work for us. And it's better to have your children early anyways, and then you learn a lot of skills from being a mother. You learn a lot of leadership skills and crisis skills and, just all sorts of things, negotiation and everything, because you're negotiating with irate people sometimes. And it's sort of like getting an MBA. It's an MBA, really, is what it is. But in people skills. So it's not in like a MBA in art, or it's not like an MBA in electronics or engineering or medicine or anything like that. I mean, it could be also those things, but technically it's not. So we sort of start with an MBA as a mother, and then we need to build on that. So, people who want to be mothers need to maybe get started earlier. We also tell women for the first 10 years of your life, don't get pregnant, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why we do it, I don't know, but that's what was told to me. And, I should get a career and all this stuff. So being a mother is a career. Period. It's a career. It's just not seen as one, and it's not paid as one, but it is a career. And it could be a lifelong career. You could have 60 children. There are women out there who have done it. Or you can do it as a starter career, get your MBA, and then go into a more detailed career. By that time, too, you're in your 30s, 35, 40, and you're ready to go. And you've still got a lot of life in front of you. You know, you got a good 30 years to have a career. Maybe even 40, depending on how long you live and how early you started your family and how many children you have. But it's possible to have it all. It's not great to have it all at the same time, because then the children suffer, because they don't have you. They don't have your center of attention, and they need that, especially during the first 10 years. So, 10 years is not a big chunk of life to put aside for children and then move forward. What we need to do is make sure that mothers get that MBA training, that business management training that comes with household, organization and running a household and running children. And so we need to look at motherhood differently. We need to make it official. We need to get salaries and benefits and vacation time. And then we also need to have it recognized as a education. There should be training anyways for it, and ongoing training. And then we need an organization to help us move into the outer world, outside of the home, outside of the village. And that's where we're lacking. We have no support system, once we are done with our sort of mothering, full-time mothering time, our active mothering time. There's active mothering and passive mothering. So, and again, being a mother and being a wife are two different jobs. You don't have to be a wife to be a mother, but to be a mother, you have to be a mother. Does that make sense? So you decide what you want for your life. You should be in control, and don't listen to what maybe your family traditions were. Because if they're telling you that you have to get married to an abusive man just to have a family, you don't have to. I'm telling you, really, and a lot of women today will tell you, you don't have to do that. So I want to, getting back to you, the creature, like no other, and designing your own life, who are you putting makeup on for? Who are you putting makeup on for? I've gone at various times in my life with a lot of makeup, and then I've gone in various times in my life with no makeup. Right now I'm doing the no makeup look, and it works for me. We have to learn to embrace our different stages of life. So aging, wrinkles are a sign of joy, a sign of intelligence, and a sign of experience. So don't fret your wrinkles. And having extra weight, actually, I was just recently in a car accident with a deer, and I think the fact that I had extra padding around all my organs and everything, I think that helped that they didn't get damaged. So don't always listen to what the authorities say too about healthy weight. The weight charts are geared towards male bodies anyways, and we are females. So we have a whole different system, and we need extra weight. And it helps if you're a bit heavier when there's a car accident and you've got some extra padding and you're heavier, so then you are more secure in your seat, and safety belts can't do as much damage. What I noticed is I had a lot of damage from the safety belt and hardly any damage or surface damage from the airbag. So I don't know if it's the airbag that's really maybe killing some women out there. It might be the safety belt harness that goes across our chest. But as a small woman, I recommend anyways that you gain some weight and that you drink some milk or get You need calcium to keep your bones strong so they don't break. None of my bones broke. None of them fractured. What happened was my internal organs slammed into the front of my body when I hit, and so I had maybe a little internal bleeding, which made me feel uneasy. But I have to admit, I walked away from the accident and I never had to go to the doctor. So I did have some bruising, especially where the safety belt was attached, and where it, pulled tight. So I think some of our damage that happens during accidents is not from the airbags, it's from the safety belt. So that is also something to think about. I usually take the over the shoulder strap off and put it behind me, so that the only thing that's really holding me in the seat is the lap belt. And so I do that because I'm just short, and they don't make the safety belts in the right position for short people anyways. And if it was up here, it would have strangled me. So, being strangled by the safety belt is not a good idea. Now, I am not a professional. I can only tell you what happened to me, and you need to decide for yourself. You have to do you. I did me, you do you, but these are recommendations, but it's not, etched in stone. And check with your local safety organization to see if this is accurate or not. And let me know, too, so that I can improve on my knowledge as well. So, plastic surgery. You are perfect just the way you are. And, okay, if you want to get a man and be married and be a wife, then you might want to do plastic surgery. And you might want to put makeup on. But if you're not terribly attached to that concept, you don't need plastic surgery, and you don't need makeup. So you're not trying to attract anyone. You're trying to be a mother, or you're trying to be yourself. And so makeup and plastic surgery are actually lies. They're lies to the public. And it's just not who you naturally are, who you naturally were. Now, there are some times where plastic surgery is health-wise necessary, and there are some times where really you might feel the need to get plastic surgery. So I'm not saying 100% don't do it. For health purposes, do it. For vanity purposes, don't do it. You don't need to do it. You are perfect the way you are. Nature created you the way you are, and you have to live your life in your body the way you are. And so, if you want honesty and truth from others, you have to give honesty and truth. That's what I can say. Take it as you want. If you will do something to enhance yourself, do it more on temporary things, like an earring or something. Don't do a lot of permanent stuff if you can, or hair coloring or gaining weight or losing weight. But, be comfortable in your skin. Be comfortable with who you are and what you're representing, and don't let others tell you anything different. You have a right to be exactly who you are. Whether you're fat or thin, tall or short, that we don't have a choice on. But, you don't have to let people be nasty to you because you're one thing or another. And you don't have to, you also don't have, you can just walk away too. You don't have to respond to any nastiness. But you need to learn to be comfortable. So I'm going to recommend that you start doing things that make you uncomfortable, so that within maybe a year you're quite comfortable with yourself and with who you really are. Because it's okay. It's okay It's all okay. So I have dyslexia. I've almost failed English twice. And I moved to Switzerland, and I really didn't think about it, but I had to learn a foreign language. And, I tried Spanish, I tried French, and in like high school and then college, and it just wasn't working. I didn't understand English. So learning a foreign language and trying to understand that was like darn near impossible. I mean, even though at least Spanish, it's pronounced the way it's written, kind of. Whereas French is just a nightmare. You just have to memorize. There's no understanding how to pronounce sentences there. It's just crazy. But then German is also one that makes a lot of common sense. You pronounce it like you see it. And the rules fit, and there's not a lot of exceptions. So German was a good one for me, but I was learning High German in a place where they speak a different German. And then I learned that different German with a mixture of High German grammar. So I kind of speak my own German now. But, Swiss people understand me. The German speakers don't understand me because I use too much Swiss German slang, I guess. But anyways, I can speak in a foreign language now, and I can even write if I have to. I mean, it's not high-level writing, but I can do it. And even in English today, I can write, and I'm a pretty good writer. So, it's taken me a long time, but it is possible that even though at your start you have trouble with reading and writing, which is what I had because of my dyslexia and my learning disabilities, you can overcome these things. They are overcomable. So don't hold on to a lot of the things that you have that people told you have. Don't hold on to them like they're etched in stone. You can overcome a lot of things, and you don't have to permanently identify with these things. So, yeah. I admire, there are some really interesting ladies online that I somehow get messages from once in a while who have like extreme situations, who are very thin or very short or not very so classical beauty. They have a lot of disformities or something, and they are so strong and powerful. And that comes from being ridiculed and being harassed and whatnot. So if somebody is harassing you, if somebody's being negative to you, you need to first stop and realize that it's actually they're taking their time to focus on you. So it's actually flattering that they're doing that. They're jealous of you, they're envious of you in some way, you have no idea what, and they're trying to manipulate you. But just know that they're taking their time to do that. So you need to decide how much time do you want to deal with that jerk, whoever it is. And maybe you don't want to spend any time on it, so then don't. Let them do their thing and you just ignore them. But just, when people ridicule, they don't know how else to hurt you or how else to manipulate you, so they're doing it that way. So it's actually somehow you're presenting yourself as strong, and they don't like it. So it's actually a compliment if they're picking on you. So just get out away from the situation as quickly as possible if it might be dangerous. And if it's not dangerous, then just walk away. You don't even have to respond. And and just know that somehow people are envious of you. Then, make your own beauty standard. Make your own beauty standard. And, I highly recommend that everyone become an artist. Become an artist because there's so much freedom in that. You can do so many things. You can be a traditional artist. You can be an experimental artist. You can be just everything. So, yeah, get into your creativity. Get into your Harold and Maude. The Maude character in Harold and Maude is an amazing thing. She is wonderful and just free, a free spirit. And that's your goal. So that nothing bothers you and you just live your life. Then, what I will say is I know that a lot of women tend to talk a lot. And that can be a bit overwhelming sometimes. And I know because I was there. So what I'm going to say is don't say everything that's on your mind. Sometimes it's best not to say everything that's on your mind. And sometimes you want to remain a little bit mysterious. So don't say everything. Pick and choose your battles and your conversations. Not everything needs to be talked about right then and there. This is what I learned from being a mom. Sometimes you have to work on one issue, one problem, and then once that's solved, then you can move to the next one. So there's no need to belittle somebody with like 10 things when you can only work on one, maximum 2 at any given time. So when you're raising your kids too, you don't have to go about 10 different things. If the child's trying to learn how to go to the bathroom on the potty, then let it focus on that. It takes about 3 to 6 months, and then you can move on to the next thing. So you, as the adult, have to figure out what is the most important thing for that child to be learning at that time, and then you help it learn it. And that goes for just all of our, also for dealing with ourselves, We don't have to have every conversation. We don't have to change everything in our lives. We can change one thing and then change the next. And sometimes we're not ready for change as an adult. As a child growing up, they do have to eventually learn how to go to the bathroom and do all sorts of normal things. And then there's, of course, freedom. But in general, the child needs to learn what is somewhat normal social behavior. You don't want somebody, shitting in the middle of a mall on the marble floor there if they don't have to, you know what I mean? So you do have to teach them a little bit of society, or maybe not. I don't know. That's up to you, how much trauma you want your child to go through later in life. But yeah, I highly recommend teaching your child to use the toilet to go to the bathroom. Then, yeah. Oh, and then also embrace the silence. Sometimes you're in a car and maybe you're in love with this person and you want to know a lot about them, but you've already asked them so many questions. It's also okay to stop and save something for later. You don't need to know everything right now, and sometimes it's overwhelming. So it's also okay to have a pause, to not say anything, to just be together. Even in a restaurant, you've both talked about your day, and now you're just eating and it's quiet, and that's also okay. It can feel awkward at times, but that's also okay. It's good to feel awkward sometimes, but what you don't want to do is give in to the awkwardness feeling. And if there's nothing to say, that's all right. On the other hand, if there's something to say that's important, then you need to bring it, and you need to bring it early, and it's okay to trip over your tongue while you're doing it and say, hey, I don't know how to say this, but I'm going to have to say it, and this is what I have to say. And then you have your conversation. So, it goes in both ways. Sometimes you have to say something about something. And, So then do it early. That's a do it early. But it's okay to have quiet. It's okay to be in a home together and not be saying much, that's also okay. There's no right or wrong. Yeah, so then I wrote down be comfortable in your own skin. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. So these ideas I gave today are about developing yourself and becoming comfortable, and how to look at what other people do to you as, you need to understand why they're doing it. Sometimes you are absolutely not the issue, it's them. So don't take everything to mean that you're a bad person or something, because it's them who have the problem, not you. So get comfortable and get strong in your own body. And it's okay to leave bad people behind. So sometimes if people are disrespecting you over and over again, it's okay to walk away. There are plenty of fish in the sea, and since we no longer have to condense the job of wife and mother together, we can be a wife if we want, and if we don't want, we don't have to. But once we are a mother, then we should stay a mother. It's only really unless your child has disabilities, it's a 10-year active mothering, and then it's a lifelong passive mothering. And the real passive, and then there's, I guess, lax. I don't know. I'll have to come up with another name. But there's the passive mothering goes until about 20, and then after that, then you kind of become very lax would be kind of what it might feel like, but that sounds like a bad thing. So I got to come up with a better word. But I'm working on it. And if you have one, then let me know, please. But you know what I mean. So it's okay to leave bad people behind, and that also includes your family, your parents. Sometimes parents are not healthy for you, especially if they're in these cults called religion, and they force you into these strange beliefs about imaginary people. So it's okay to leave those cults behind and know that they're addicted to their cult and that they're not going to let go of it. So it's best to get you into safety and focus on you. And eventually, by walking away, you might be able to help them to walk away too, and to realize that they're actually in some bizarre cult they didn't realize, and it's destroying their life. So, you might help your parents by seeing that. Or if they're alcoholics or drug addicts, again, feel free to walk away. You're the child. And when parents have children, they should be responsible. Now, I will say, just to help out some situations right now, currently, the way the U.S. treats parents is pretty bad. So, especially single mothers are treated really bad. So if you have a single mother, you do have to give her a little bit of space, because she's raising you in a situation she maybe never planned. If it was something planned, then that's a different story. So I guess if you've got somebody who's disrespectful to you, it's best to find out how everything transpires and then make your own decision if that person is deserving of your respect too. There we go. That's probably the best way to put it. And then hopefully, once my program gets started where we're actually being paid for being mothers, then it'll be a whole different ball of wax, because then there will be this security that women will have, and I'm assuming that things will go better in child rearing and in other ways. But yeah, we need to get started, is what we need to do. So then you are always number one in your life. Of course, until you have children, and then sometimes, like I said, they become number one. Sometimes we do have to do that for our kids. But you're number one. You are a creature like no other, and be that. Also, watch the movie Mulan from Disney. It's a great, powerful woman figure who is totally rejected by her society being a woman, but yet she thrives. So watch Mulan too, and it's funny, so it's worth it. Not the movie, the original Disney animation series. And the music is wonderful too. The songs are great. Highly, highly, highly recommended. Yeah, Mulan. Okay. So, I guess that's about it for now. Take care of yourself. You matter to the world. You do. We want you here. But don't let society tell you you're one thing or another. You decide for yourself who you are. Okay, I hope that helped. Yeah, that's about it. So thank you for stopping by. I am Susan Maude Buchser-Lochocki, and this was a woman for women. Yeah. Take care. Until next time. Bye.